shone through heaven and earth. My experience today is to tell you that the sky rings the thunder, but Tiết Độ Sứ today is the real wonder. A CEO with strategic thinking, leadership and management ability for the inner emperor, after king, both good for the people and pacifying the world, is none other than Thừa Dụ. With his vision, he quietly put his name in history. Historians of many generations later also respectfully call him with the nickname Khúc Thừa Dụ, introducing to the extent, if I don't shone through heaven and earth to flow through the profile limited edition of this Khúc Thừa Dụ, it would be a bit of a wait. Stop here for a moment. Let me guess that many of you on my channel don't seem to like stalking. It's okay, I will stalk for you. You should eat, lie down and see what's on today. If you're scared, call your friends to watch together. It's YouTube, not like Netflix. Okay, let's open Khúc Thừa Dụ profile together. It's very difficult for me to get this from time to time. A CEO who leads an entire country, so confidential things like this are carefully guarded by soldiers. To see a legendary character during the Vietnamese independence period. To see what's special about him, a real biography showed that Khúc Thừa Dụ was born around 8 and 30s. I say around because his birth year was top secret. Probably because at that time there were no birth certificates. Born in the land of talented people, now Hồng Châu, Ninh Giang, Hải Dương. He came from a rich kid in a superb family with great power in the locality, a noble family with many generations of officials, so he was very litigious with the people. Reading this, I can only acclaim the firstborn Khúc Thừa Dụ, but if anyone dare to twist into the firstborn Khúc Thừa Dư, they have to deal with me. I see in his profile that he is a person who likes to read books, study military strategies, and take care of the people. A person worthy of the CEO of the time, patriotic and loving people like this, understand the military strategy, virtuous and intelligent, sitting in the Tiết Độ Sứ chair. I think it's a bit of weight of talent. Let's continue watching. During his time, our country was still called An Nam Đô Hộ Phủ since 679 by the decree of Đường Cao Tông, as a way to refer to southern regions after being occupied by the Đường dynasty. Later, in 866, seeing that it was not good after the descendant of the Đường dynasty, Đường Ý Tông, ascended the throne, he immediately changed the name to Thịnh Hải Navy to tighten the Đường dynasty control over our southern country and assigned the position of Tiết Độ Sứ to be the leader of Thịnh Hải Navy. But at the end of the 9th century, the Đường dynasty fell into a state of serious decline. Peasants everywhere rose up in revolt. The court could not control the situation, and the country was too large. Now in this news, Khúc Thừa Dụ secretly recruited young men everywhere to gather, train soldiers, prepare weapons and provisions, just waiting until the Đường dynasty fell into a state of exhaustion to rise up and revolt. In the midst of this boiling water and fire situation, the Đường dynasty no longer had the energy to care about the Hải Navy. Far away in the south, during this period, the Hải Navy were managed by the dynasty official Độc Cô Tồn sent out to govern. Wow, Độc Cô sounds like a relative of Độc Cô Cầu Bại. But according to the martial arts world of China that I heard at that time, this Độc Cô Thần Kiếm didn't have a family. This is Độc Cô, but a fake Độc Cô. Back to fake Độc Cô. I mean Độc Cô Tồn. Tiết Độ Sứ, who was recently appointed by the Đường dynasty to govern our country. He had just assumed his position not long ago, but seeing the news of the county court, độc cô Tùng were afraid that he would have no one to back him up, and also lacking influence within the Tỉnh Hải Navy, as well as the inquiry of the local leaders and the uprising of the peasant class everywhere at a time when water were boiling and fire were burning like this. Độc cô Tùng saw the title of Tiết Độ Sứ as a double-edged sword, a dilemma, so he decided to quietly escape. I guess he might have rushed to the water at night on his private ship with a fancy guard team. Otherwise, as I thought, the dynasty Tiết Độ Sứ position was too sappy, and so in 905, the seat of the Tiết Độ Sứ was left vacant. The navy existed like a snake without a head. Knowing that the time had come, Khúc Thừa Dụ stopped and mobilized the local leaders to lead the army to attack Đại La Citadel. With the will of the people, everyone shared the same ideology of must escape from the yoke of the Đường dynasty. The battle took place quickly and fiercely. The Đường soldiers in Đại La could not resist the fierce attacks from the people. So the result was that Khúc Thừa Dụ army successfully occupied Đại La Citadel. The remaining officers and soldiers were captured by him without being killed. Having stabilized the citadel, he appeared proudly among the captured Đường officers and soldiers, then proclaimed himself the newly appointed Tiết Độ Sứ. The officers all nodded in agreement after hearing. Some of them shouted they were immediately arrested and taken away. As a visionary leader, this CEO not only replaced the old people and governing apparatus, he embarked on the task of building and reforming the government to suit the situation of the country at that time. A state apparatus that must become extremely streamlined, effective, reducing countless trouble for the people. Let me draw an easy to understand picture for you. The leader will be the military Tiết Độ Sứ. Under his command, there will be officials appointed by him, who are still civil and military officials, but there will no import officials. Geographically, he divided Tỉnh Hải Navy into smaller units based on the 12 prefectures of the rivers Đường dynasty. Not doing it carelessly, he sent people down to govern localities from the prefectures level to the village level. In my opinion, decentralization of management like this is for the central government to give autonomy to localities to make it easier to manage things like internal management, tax collections, or military recruitment. A streamlined apparatus will reduce the number of officials, simplify administrative procedures, and also reduce the burden on the people. Decentralization or local government like this also shows closeness to the people on the thoughts and feelings of the people that corrupt people never paid attention to before. And anyway, they do not care about worldly matters. The appearance of this new Tiết Độ Sứ caused the local government to gradually disintegrate. Everything happened like a butterfly effect. As a virtuous and wise man, he allowed the Đường dynasty officials to return to their country, and the Vietnamese people who were previously forced to work under the enemy were arrested to return to their homeland.
This approach of yours is truly impressive. No revenge took place, and all activities resumed as normal, with a renewed vigor and the excitement of the people. But I don't understand why you didn't declare yourself emperor and establish a fitting state title, and instead chose to hold on to the position of Tiết Độ Sứ.
The key point is to reclaim and preserve the legacy left by our ancestors. What's the use of gaining power if it harms the people?
I understand now.
So in 906, after stabilizing the state apparatus independently, Khúc Thừa Dụ sent an envoy to China to show his submission based on the title of Tiết Độ Sứ. In the context of weakening and difficulties, the Đường dynasty had to accept and send an envoy carrying the Đường emperor's decree and establish Khúc Thừa Dụ at Tỉnh Hải Navy, Tiết Độ Sứ. With the title, he continued to reform and promulgate laws by setting new regulations on taxes and land, contributing to social stability and economic development. With his leadership, the revival of agriculture was now just a matter of time, promoting land reclamation, expanding cultivated areas with the voucher to reduce taxes, the output of the people created, and creating more conditions for the development of trade, expanding the business market with foreign countries. The economy gradually stabilized. He started to reshape cultural traditions. It must be known that the 1,000 years of domination that I mentioned in the previous series had really influenced the traditional culture of our people. Now that the Vietnamese are in power, he allowed the people to freely develop the traditional cultures that the people had to hide for generations and carefully pass on to their descendants. It's 2024, but I see that Vietnam still has so many cultural features. When our ancestors passed them down, they must have whispered. Let me tell you. At that time, there was no social media, but if there was, Khúc Thừa Dụ would definitely be a famous influencer. Just imagine when he live streamed to share his leadership experiences or posted check-in photos at historical sites. Surely he would attract millions of followers. His name is given to many streets, schools, and landmarks across the country as an honor. That's all. His profile is so cool that many Gen Zs have to wow. Watch out, does it make like the town police? I have to go out for a bit. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications.
Báo cáo, đã tìm thấy vật bị đánh cắp, nhưng hung thủ đã cao chạy xa bay rồi.